Hello everybody, Jerry here with a quick look at a Platinum Preppy fountain pen. I think everybody that gets started with fountain pens has this one somewhere in their collection. As for me, when I go and look at lists, everybody has this in their beginner fountain pen list, along with the Lamy Safari and some other pens. What's really nice about this pen is that you can grab it all over the place, Goulet pens or Amazon, for a relatively inexpensive price. I happened to pick this one up at Amazon. I got the black one, and if you look there, it's like $5 and some change, and it's prime shipping, which means it's to your door in a couple of days. I think this pen is relatively underappreciated for what it is. It's inexpensive, which means that you can throw it in your bag. You can kind of have it around at all times, and you don't have to worry about it if something happens to it and it gets broken. That's like me. This happens to be one of those pens that is just always in my bag. And one of the other things I think is pretty cool is that the tip, hard to see here, but the tip is actually the same color as the ink that you order. So if it's blue, you get a blue one. If it's black, you get a black one. I have read that they are no longer doing that, which would really be a shame, because I think that's kind of cool. The other thing that I find to be very interesting with this pen is that it has a lot of utility. You can actually use a cartridge, which I have here. This one happens to be a red cartridge. I was messing around. I had a black cartridge in it, and I popped it out and threw a red cartridge in it, and it made for some very interesting ink color, kind of a deep wine color that has slowly lightened up as I've used the pen to write. But you can use cartridges, and they're relatively inexpensive, and there are, you can pretty much get them anywhere, and there's several colors. There's black, red, blue, and I think there might even be a green and maybe a couple others. But they have these little balls, metal balls in the end, and when you stick it into the pen, it pops the ball out, and you can actually, I don't know if you can hear that, but it rattles around in there, and I don't know, it works pretty well if you ask me. But anyway, the other thing you can do is you can always buy a converter. This is specifically for the Platinum pen. It is not the same as the international converters. This hole here is significantly larger. So if you try to take one of the international converters and you try to pop it in here, it simply won't fit. I tried that. It was obviously a mistake. And then the last thing you can do with this is one of the reasons I think it has great utility, is that you can actually convert this into what they call a dropper pen, or an ink dropper pen. And you can put some silicone gel around these threads. You can put a little O-ring here, little rubber O-ring, and then you can convert this entire back half into an ink reservoir. And I actually have one of those pens that I converted. I didn't convert, I actually bought it converted. It came with some Noodler's ink. And I don't know, it works out fairly well. I haven't had any problems with it leaking. I wouldn't carry it with me when I travel because I don't have that much confidence in it, but it seems to work well overall. In fact, I think it may hold too much ink for me because I actually like to play with the inks more than I actually do the pens themselves. So anyway, for about $5 you can get a pen that can be used with ink cartridge, with a converter, or you can convert it to a dropper itself. In terms of size, I don't know, it's about an average size pen. That's a Monteverde Impresa, basically about the same size, and here's Lamy Safari for comparison. So it's about the same size. It's it's comfortable to hold, and it writes pretty well. I mean, it's not the greatest pen in terms of writing, but I don't know. I think it's underappreciated. I actually think it writes fine, especially for the money. So here, let's take a quick look at it here. It's a Platinum Preppy. This is actually officially a medium nib, is what I ordered. And the ink is actually a red cartridge. Nothing special. And as you can see, you know, it has some interesting color in it, and it gets lighter as I write. You know, the paper, this is Clairefontaine. And the pen itself actually keeps up surprisingly well. I mean, I have much more expensive pens that don't keep up this well. You know, overall, I don't know. I think it's a great little pen, especially for the money. You just can't go wrong. So I'll put a link to it, to the Amazon one that I purchased down below, and I'll also put a link to you know, some of the ink cartridges and the converter if you're at all interested. The one thing that you might consider is that the pen itself is, you know, $5 and some change. The ink cartridges are relatively inexpensive. You can pick a couple of these up for, you know, about $3. But the converter is, this one was a little more than $8. So it's actually, it costs much more than the pen. You know, it might be much more economical in the case with this pen to, you know, convert it to a dropper and use this for ink, or simply use the cartridges as you go along. So anyway, that's it for now. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And until next time, see ya.